Do you think changing your mindset is just too woo-woo or vague to truly make an impact on your real-world finances? Well, think again. Mindset work isn't just important, it's essential for financial success. Focusing solely on budgets and debts is just not enough to achieve true wealth and abundance. Hey everyone, I'm Rose Colburn, and in this video, I'll uncover the common mindset traps that keeps people from achieving financial success, show you how to balance a positive financial mindset with realistic financial planning, and give you actionable steps to change your mindset in order to improve your financial situation. But first, let's talk about what we mean by mindset in the context of achieving financial success. I have a couple friends that I know who are just a few years apart in age. They both grew up in lower middle class families, and money was always a huge concern for both of them. Scarcity and the fear of not having enough was the mindset that they were raised with, and they'd often hear things like, money doesn't grow on trees and we're not made of money. In his early 20s, Joe embraced a huge opportunity, a well-paying job with amazing benefits that required him to move across the country and away from his family. His decision to step out of his comfort zone laid the groundwork for a thriving career. Frank, however, chose a different route. He stayed closer to home, settling for a job that, while stable, offered very little in terms of growth or satisfaction. Over the years, Joe continued to earn more promotions and bonuses within his company. He chose to manage his increasing income by building up an emergency fund and saving for future investments such as real estate. His proactive approach towards his finances allowed him to not only buy his own home, but also to invest in additional properties, turning them into sources of passive income. Frank, on the other hand, struggled. After briefly moving out of his parents' house and getting a car loan for a more reliable vehicle, he became unhappy with his job, which led him to resign, hoping to find something better. But things didn't work out as he'd hoped, and he was forced to move back home, where he eventually accepted another low-paying job offer. His car loan became an overwhelming debt that he couldn't afford, and he was forced to allow the bank to take it back. Once again, he found himself with a car that was just draining his bank account with repairs and expenses. His bills and everyday living costs were overwhelming, and he couldn't meet them. Frank found himself trapped in a cycle of scarcity, and his spending habits prevented him from any form of saving or investment. Over the years, Frank constantly complained about how life sucked. It was so unfair, and that people like him could never get ahead. Joe adopted a mindset of abundance. Even when he lost a huge amount of money that he'd invested in the stock market, he never fell into the poor me trap. Instead, he maintained his abundance mindset, and he didn't let loss keep him from moving forward. Both of them had heard the same messages about money and scarcity when they were growing up. But as they became adults, their financial situations were worlds apart. The difference lay in their mindset. Frank carried the scarcity mindset, which led him through a series of poor financial choices. Joe, however, broke away from those early lessons and used his financial resources as tools to build and sustain wealth. Understanding that your financial mindset can be a powerful engine for growth or a brake holding you back is crucial. It's not just about how much money you make, but how you think about and what you do with that money that truly defines your financial path. As we've seen with Frank and Joe, mindset plays an extremely important role in shaping our financial destiny. But what exactly leads us down the wrong path instead of on the path towards financial success? First of all, it's not just a series of random poor decisions. It's not about a lack of knowledge or not working hard enough. Instead, it's a broader mindset trap that many of us fall into without realizing it. About 10 years after I'd started my business, during our annual tax filing meeting, I was talking to my accountant, who is also my personal friend. As we discussed our upcoming refunds, it struck me that while we were both fairly successful in our businesses, getting this refund check every year was a huge deal. Like every year before, we already planned out how to spend every single penny before the check even arrived. We'd use it to catch up on bills, fix the car, buy the kids clothes, because deep down, We believed that if we didn't spend this money on those things, something unexpected would happen and we'd be stuck using the money to cover that disaster instead of for what we wanted to use it for or what we thought we needed to use it for. At the time, the thought of using the money to invest or save never even crossed our minds. We were always bracing for something to go wrong. And this was years before I understood the concept of a scarcity mindset. But looking back, it's clear to me now that's exactly what it was. The problem was that while I had financial independence, I didn't have financial freedom. I was trapped in that scarcity mindset, constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. And the more I worried about what might happen or what we didn't have enough money for, the more it seemed like something unexpected would happen, leaving me scrambling for the money to cover it. This is exactly how the mindset of scarcity works. It keeps us living in a constant state of fear of not having enough, whether it's money, time, or resources. We end up making decisions based on survival rather than growth. The problem with this mindset is that it reinforces a cycle of lack and limitation. When we expect things to go wrong, we unconsciously focus on the negative, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Have you ever found yourself stuck in that cycle? You might be so focused on the immediate bills and needs that you don't even allow yourself to think beyond that. Maybe you feel like if you don't spend the money right away on something necessary, that something bad will happen and take away any progress you've made. This kind of thinking can keep you trapped, always worrying about the next problem instead of planning for the long term or even daring to take the time to think about building wealth. And you're not alone. This is a mindset trap that so many of us fall into even without realizing it. Financial freedom doesn't start with earning more money or creating the perfect budget. It starts with breaking free from the scarcity mindset. That means shifting from a place of fear and limitation to a mindset of abundance, where you see opportunities for growth, savings, and investment. Scarcity is one of the most common mindset traps there is, but it's not the only one. There's also the fixed mindset that makes people believe that their financial situation can never change. Or there's the fear of success, where people sabotage their own growth unconsciously. Any mindset rooted in fear or limitation will keep you stuck, while an abundance mindset opens the door to growth and freedom. This shift, it doesn't happen overnight, and it's not always easy, especially if you've been raised with limiting beliefs about money like I was. But once you begin to recognize this mindset trap for what it is, you can start to change your relationship with money. Instead of reacting with fear, you'll start making decisions based on confidence and long-term visions. And that's the key to moving beyond financial independence and achieving true financial freedom. But here's the big question. How do we balance this positive financial mindset with realistic, practical financial strategies? It's one thing to adopt a mindset and think about long-term balanced growth. But how do we make sure that we're not just dreaming about financial success and actually putting plans into place to achieve it? Let me give you an example. A friend of mine, who I'll call Amanda, has always been an optimist when it comes to her finance. She always believed that she'd be successful one day, and she worked hard towards that goal. For years and years, she focused on thinking positively without ever building a realistic strategy to match it. Things are just gonna work out, she'd always say. But she didn't have a solid budget. She wasn't tracking her spending. So while she believed that things would get better, she often found herself overspending and then feeling stressed when the end of the month rolled around. It wasn't until Amanda and I sat down together to create a plan, tracking her income, building a saving strategy, and developing a budget aligned with her long-term goals, that things began to shift for her. Through our discussions, Amanda realized that having a mindset of abundance didn't mean ignoring her present financial reality. Instead, it meant making smart, intentional decisions today that would pave the way for the future that she truly envisioned. By blending the mindset with practical grounded strategies, she finally saw the progress she had been looking for. So have you found yourself struggling to balance an optimistic outlook with practical money management? Or maybe you lean too heavily into focusing on immediate problems without allowing yourself to plan for the future? When I began working with Amanda, her mindset was holding her back. Sure, she was focused on positive thinking, but she had no solid strategy to match. And no matter where you fall on the spectrum, whether you're overly optimistic or stuck in a scarcity mindset, there are ways to start shifting your approach. When I coach someone through changing their mindset and moving towards financial success, I walk them through 4 crucial steps. But I don't want to overwhelm you with all of them. So today I'm going to focus on just my favorite one, which is reframing your mindset. You see, even though you think that you have an optimistic outlook, even though you think you might have a positive mindset, your self-talk is the crucial key that really uncovers the foundation of your mindset and where your mindset actually lies. Even the most optimistic people often carry subtle underlying beliefs about money that just doesn't align with their outward positivity. Their optimism covers up some negative beliefs they have, and this is exactly where I started with Amanda. Even though she always seemed optimistic about her future success and her future financial goals and ambitions, there was always something that was just below the surface, barely recognizable through her optimism, and that was her negative self-talk. She'd talk about the plans and the dreams that she had, about the house on the beach, the nice car that she'd drive, and enjoying a life of financial freedom. But something always would come up, and you'd hear her say things like, "At this rate, I'm never going to get ahead." Or when things weren't quite going her way, she'd go on a shopping spree, and later she would regret her decisions, and she'd say, "I'm just not good with money when I'm stressed." These subtle clues revealed her underlying negative beliefs about money. But here's the thing. Every time we allow those thoughts to run through our mind without challenging them, we reinforce them and let them shape our actions. When Amanda started reframing those negative statements, she saw immediate changes in her behavior. Instead of saying, "I'm just not good with money," she began to say, "I'm learning how to manage my money better every single day." That subtle shift helped her to not only feel more confident, it also gave her space in her thinking to forgive herself for past mistakes, and it allowed her to change her actions and continue to grow and improve her financial situation. Remember, mindset shifts and practical financial strategies are 2 sides of the same coin. It's not just about thinking positively or planning perfectly. It's about how they work together. When you combine the power of an abundance mindset with the right financial strategies, you start to unlock new opportunities and make lasting changes. Thank you for watching and spending time with me today. Remember, your mindset truly does equal your financial success.